Hi, welcome to my next video on Azure Resource Manager and ARM templates. We are going to see 20 questions with the answers and explanation within 20-minute time frame. Let's start with. Before we get into the question, if you are new to Azure Resource Manager and ARM template, there is one learning video I published already. I will be providing the link in the description. Please go through it and it will be helpful for you to prepare yourself to get into the question answer sessions. First question, what are mandatory in the above ARM template structure? The template structure is provided at the bottom, which reads schema, content version, parameters, functions, variables, resources, and outputs. So these are the various sections which are as part of the ARM resource template. So you need to number which are all the items which are mandatory for that. See, out of these seven, the right answer for this question is schema that need to be defined, content version need to be specified in order to make sure that you are using the right version from your source control system, and the resources. So where you are going to define the resources that need to be deployed. So these three are the mandatory sections as part of your ARM template. Next question. A team of developers at your company plans to deploy and then remove 50 customized virtual machines each week. 30 of virtual machines run on Windows. Server 2016 and 20 of the virtual machines run on Ubuntu Linux. You need to recommend which Azure service will minimize the administrative effort required to deploy and remove the virtual machine. What should you recommend? If you look into the question, there are 50 virtual machines. 30 are running in Windows and another 20 are running in Linux. So it is a laborious task to deploy and remove. So the question is, what is your recommendation in terms of consuming any services available from Azure? Option A, Azure reserved virtual machines instances. Option B, Azure virtual machine scale set. Azure Dev Test Labs. Fourth one is Microsoft Managed Desktop. Out of these options, option D, Microsoft Managed Desk is not the answer. So for the remaining three, option B, Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set is used for scaling of the VMs in case of high demand. And Azure Reserved Virtual Machine Instance is specific for blocking a VM instance for a specified task for a year or so. And this deploying and removal can be done quite easily using dev test. And so the right answer for this question is option C. Dev test lab creates labs consisting of pre-configured bases or Azure Resource Manager template, and using it you can remove those instances whenever you don't want them. Next question, which among the following is false? Number 1, Azure portal is faster than Resource Manager. Number 2, not all resources support Azure Resource Management template or Resource Manager deployment. Third one, ARM templates are easy to learn. Option 4, some older Azure resources may not be compatible with Azure Resource Manager. You need to pick up those items which are false. So the right answer for this question is option 3. ARM template require a learning curve. And you need to understand the underlying deployment and the management model, and so it is not easy to learn. So that is the right answer. Next question, a company has a requirement to deploy 10 Azure resources for several departments. All of the resource type and the configurations are same. Which of the following could be used to automate deployment of the resources using infrastructure as code? Is it Azure Resource Manager template or virtual machine skeleton or Azure API management service or management groups? The right answer for this question is option A. So, Azure Resource Manager template can accomplish the requirement of deploying and removal. So, the benefits of Azure Resource Manager template, which includes consistent deployment and management of the resources in Azure. It also helps in terms of improved reliability and consistency of resource deployment and management. And so option A is the right answer. Next question. Azure Resource Management and Deployment are handled by this service. Option A, Azure Resources. Option B, Azure Resource Group. Option C, Azure Resource Manager. The right answer for this question is Azure Resource Manager, which is a service used for resource management and deployment, and it is for easy deployment as well as removal of any resources that can be done very quickly. Next question, true or false? Azure Resource Management is slower than Azure Portal. The right answer for this question is true. Here, deployments using Azure Resource Manager can be slower than the other methods such as Azure portals. The reason being the scripts will be validated first, dependencies will be evaluated, whereas using the GUI of Azure portal, you can do all such things very quickly compared to Azure Resource Manager template. And also it depends upon the number of resources what you are deploying. If it is huge in number, it is better to script that. And so in such a case, ARM template usage is much faster compared to Azure portal, because once you test that template very quickly and you can reuse it as many number of times. Next question, true or false? Azure Resource Manager is charged back to the customer. Is there any cost involved in using Azure Resource Manager? The right answer for this question is false. There is no additional cost associated with using Azure Resource Manager. The cost is determined by the resources whatever you are deploying and the consumption within the deployment. So it is false in this. False is the right answer for this question. Next question, does resource does Azure Resource Manager supports for automatic rollback in case of failure? Is it yes or no? The right answer for this question is yes. Azure Resource Manager provides automatic rollback capabilities in the event of deployment failure. And also it supports deployment recovery through its checkpoint and restart functionality. And so the right answer for this question is option A. Next question, Azure Resource Management Manager template uses dash file format. Is it text or XML or JSON file format? The right answer for this question is JSON. So Azure Resource Manager template is in JSON file format that will define the infrastructure and the configuration of the Azure resources. Next question, true or false? You can declare parameters and pass them during deployments while using ARM template. Is it yes or no? The right answer for this question is yes. Values that are provided when deployment is executed to customize the resource deployment for which you can pass parameters. And so the right answer for this question is option A. Next question, which among the following uses Azure Resource Manager service? Is it Azure Portal or Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell or rest of the client? Option A, all the above except 4. Option B, 1 and 2. Option C, 1 only. And the right and or the option D is all the above. The right answer for this question is all the above. All these services uses ARM template or ARM service for deploying the Azure resources it into the cloud. Next question. Provisioning will be ignored if the resource with the same name exists. Is it true or false? The right answer for this question is yes. Next question. Infrastructure as code, where external files can be added in the file and the references or passing on the parameter from those files are allowed. Is it true or false? Something like inline files. The right answer for this question is false. That is, adding external file as an include file as part of the main script file is not allowed as part of infrastructure as code. Next come, can infrastructure as a code be used with multiple cloud provider? Is it yes or no? The right answer for this question is yes. IaaS can be used with multiple cloud providers and hybrid cloud environment. Tools like Terraform support multiple cloud providers, which enabling the users to manage resources across multiple platforms with a single code base. Of course, there will be here and there are syntactical changes between the cloud providers, but it can be reused. Next question. Will I use IAC for on-premises data center as well on the cloud infrastructure? The right answer for this question is option A, yes. An infrastructure code once built can be used for both on-premises data centers as well as the cloud infrastructure. IAC can be used to manage the provisioning and configuration of resources in both the environment, providing consistency and automation in management of infrastructure regardless of whether it is located at on-premises or at the cloud. Next question. Which among the following is true with respect to infrastructure as code? Option A. Variables are used to store values that are reused multiple times within a configuration. Option B. Parameters are used to pass values into configuration when it is executed. Option C. Parameters can be passed through different values each time to a configuration when the different configuration is executed. Option D. All the above. The right answer for this question is all the above are all true with respect to IAC. Here, variables can be used to store values that are reused multiple times within a configuration, while parameters are used to pass values it into configuration when it is executed. So, both variables and parameters can be used to provide flexibility and reuse within IAC configuration, but they serve different purposes and are used in different ways. Next question. Is below statement correct? The statement is, to use ARM templates effectively, users must have good understanding of Azure services and the resources what they provide. Is it yes or no? The right answer for the question is yes. Let's see the reason. To use ARM templates very effectively, users must have good understanding of Azure services and the resources they provide. This includes understanding of the properties and options available for each resource type and how to configure them using ARM templates. Next question. ARM templates are JSON files and they can be debugged in case of any errors easily. Is that statement correct? Is it yes or no? The right answer for the question is no. When error occurs in ARM templates, it can be difficult to identify and debug the issue. Understanding the error messages and how to troubleshoot problems can be a challenge. So, though JSON is a easy readable file format, this is one of a difficulty with the use of ARM template. Next question. While deploying resources in cloud using ARM templates, if there are any issues, what will happen? Option A. Entire deployment halted, rollback to previous state will happen. Option B. Only successful part of the deployment retained and others failed parties rolled back. Option C. Rollback is not possible. You need to rework on the templates. See, out of this option, the right answer is the first one. That is, in the event of deployment failure, Azure Resource Manager can automatically roll back the deployment, undoing any changes made to the resources during the deployment. So this helps in to ensure that resources are not left in a partially deployed state and minimizes the risk of issues with the resources in Azure. So option A is the correct answer. Next question. Let us suppose you work for ABC Limited, which has several business units. Each business unit requires 20 different Azure resources for daily operation. All the business units require same type of Azure resources. Now you are required to suggest a solution that will be consistent, quicker and easy to implement. Is option A management group, option B the Azure API management service, option C Azure Resource Manager template, option D virtual machine scale set. Out of which the right answer is Azure Resource Manager template. So here the benefits of using Resource Manager template, which includes number one, consistent deployment and management of resources in Azure. Second one, it provide improved reliability in terms of resource deployment as well as withdrawal and maintaining consistency of the resource deployment and management. And so option C is the right answer. With that, I end up today's discussion. Thank you very much, and I hope this video is helpful to you for your interview or exam preparation. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe, and you will be notified whenever I publish a new video. As said earlier, this is not the end of session. We are going to continue with a new topic tomorrow. Till then, stay safe and bye now.